Hello, welcome back to Learn Oikonomia. Today, actually, what we are going to do is we'll be discussing certain questions which were asked in today's exam. Um, Actually, I wanted to discuss all the questions which were asked in the exam, but I received only some of the questions. My friends have given me some questions, but it is not the entire questions which were asked in the exam. Since the questions were, the exam was conducted in computerized mode, it was difficult to get all the questions. So, what I'm going to do is that whichever questions I received, I'll be discussing the answers. Um, so, the main problem was that the exam was conducted in computerized mode. That was why I couldn't get all the questions, and that was the reason why we couldn't discuss all the questions right now. So, with that, we start. Um, Okay, there was a question on Harrod-Hicks neutrality. Here, the correct answer is labor augmenting. Now, there was a question on Coase theorem. All the options given in the question, all the options were right. So, the right option was all the above or all the given options. Now, there was something on crude birth rate, right? So you were given some 5,000, 28 lakhs, etc. What you have to do here is that you have to divide 5,000 by 28 lakh into 1,000. So you'll be getting an answer which would be equivalent to 17 point something. So that is the right answer. Next, there was a question on accelerator multiplier interaction. The right option is super multiplier. Next, there was a question on FDI, largest share, which was the sector giving largest share to foreign direct investment. The right answer is computer and software. Then again, there was a question on metrics. You were asked to identify the correct sentence. The correct sentence is if the determinant unity of adjoint of matrix is equal to inverse. So that's the correct option. Um, Next, there was a question on correlation. Correlation, as we all know, it is something that deals with association. Correlation means if correlation between x and y means relationship between x and y or association between x and y. Next, a question on barter, net barter terms of trade was there. What you have to do is that the price indices of export upon price indices of import. So that is the right answer. Next, you were asked to match the contributors with the theories. I mean, there was a list of theories of trade, and you were asked to match the contributors with the theory. So it was Adam Smith who was related to supply side. With respect to demand side, it is actually Marshall and Edgeworth were related. Now Haberler was related with opportunity cost, and real with respect to real cost, it is Ricardo who's related. Now coming to the component of stock, capital stock, we know that it's a stock variable. Okay, it is a stock variable. Now coming to bank rate, you have to understand that it is a long run rate which is charged by the Reserve Bank of India to lend to the commercial banks. When it is a short run lending, it is where there is actually some involvement of security, but in the case of the bank rate, there is no involvement of securities. It is something charged by the Reserve Bank to give loans to the commercial banks. Okay. Now, next question, how to reduce BOP? Here all the given options are right. There were options with respect to import control, foreign exchange control, etc. So all these could be used as a measure to reduce BOP or reduce BOP crisis. BOP crisis means balance of payment problems. Next, commercial bank credit creation is decreased. What could be done, or what can we do? What can be done to decrease the commercial bank credit creation? The right answer is all of the above. Now, with respect to money supply, there was a question, right? The question was like money supply is increased. If what can be the situation which lead to increase in money supply? We know that if there is a selling of securities, that would if the government sells the securities, or if the central bank or if the authority sells the securities, what happens is that there will be money flow from the government, if from the seller to the buyer, right? The person who sells the securities would be getting money, and the person who is buying the securities would be giving the money. So money supply can be increased if what to have what can be done if the money should flow to the flow from the government to the public, or if the bank is involved, what happens is that what to happen is that there should be a flow of money from the bank to the public. Anyway, the money should reach the public, then only we could see that money supply is increased. Next, division of impact of nominal variable on nominal variables. It is something to deal with classical dichotomy. Now, next question: if government removes from import tariff trade, which industry would be affected? It is the import competitive industry that is mostly affected. So the right option is import competitive industry. Now there was a question on you are given certain options, and from the options you need to pick the non-commercial bank. Which of the following is not a commercial bank? That was a question asked. So the right answer or the right option is cooperative banks. Cooperative banks are not commercial banks. Next, you were given certain ideas, or you were given certain concepts like utility, law of diminishing marginal utility, indifference curve theory, revealed preference theory, etc. And you were asked to you were asked to identify the right chronology. The right chronology is that it was the term utility that came into being. I mean, it that was the idea which came first. Utility, the idea of utility came first, then came the idea of law of diminishing marginal utility, then came the idea of indifference curve theory, then came the idea of revealed preference hypothesis of theory. Next, there was a question on Cobb-Douglas what utility. Here we know that the elasticity is equal to 1 because we know that it is uh, something of very much important in the economic theory. We have already know that it is of utility, it is of elasticity is equal to 1, and here it is something of Harrod-Hicks utility, something to deal with that. And coming to a risk averse person, what will be his choice? He will be choosing something of related to expected utility. Now then next question: if risk from both investment is equal, then consumer will choose what? The right option is mean of each risk. There was a question on LAC. The right option is economies of scale. There was some question on market failure because of what? What were the causes of market failure? The right answer is all, because monopoly will cause market failure, public good will cause market failure. So all these things will be causing market failure. Then you were asked to identify the wrongly matched pair. So here actually the right what I think is that the wrongly matched pair is Kuznets irreversible environmental damage. So that is what I could find. Then there was a question on multiplier. You were given certain choices and you were asked to see which is the right option. I could see that both option B and C are working with the figures given in the question. Next, um, there was a question on Phillips curve. Phillips curve, we all know it is something which would relate money, wage and inflation. Coming to the duration of business cycle in ascending order, it was Contrative who was related here. That was the right option. Coming to Hawkins-Simon condition, it has something to do with input-output model. Now there was another chronology where you were given PQLI, HDA, MPI, SDG. The right option is this PQLI, then came Human Development Index, then came MPI, then came SDG. Then you were given certain neoclassical economist and one non-neoclassical economist, and you were asked to find which was the non-neoclassical economist. The right answer was Passanity. Then you were given a question which would be giving you maximum and minima. The maximum given was 2 and minimum was 6. The right option is -4, -4. Then chronology, you were asked again, you were given a chronology based question. You were given gift tax, income tax, service tax and GST. The right option, the right chronology is that gift tax came first, then came income tax, then came service tax, then came GST. Next question, which would deal with the entire incidence on monopolists. Actually, it was lump sum tax. Then another question was there with respect to capital receipt and BOP. It is something to deal with the changes in stock magnitude. Next, there was a question on stock year. There was a question on base year GDP at constant prices. You were given many options. The right answer is 2011-12. Again, there was a chronology based question, something on poverty, different committees on poverty. Actually, it was Alak which came first, then Lakdawala committee, then Tendulkar committee, then Rangarajan committee. This is the right chronology. Another question with respect to appreciation, depreciation, etc. You were given that initially $1 was equal to 72 and then $1 became 68. So what is the situation? That was a question. Actually, you could see that initially you have to give 72 rupees in order to get $1, but later on it became 68. If you give 68 rupees, you will be getting $1. So that means that the value of our currency, that means the rupee, it has got appreciated, and the value of US dollar has came down, right? It has come down. So what happened is that appreciation of rupee and appreciation of dollar. Next, old to new tax. What is this effect known as? A movement from old to new tax. This is a displacement effect. Next, so actually there is nothing known as next. In order, though I wanted to discuss all the questions, there were many limitations with respect to availability of questions, options, etc. But I could stood within my own limitations, and what I could do is that I could do some kind of justice to the discussion of questions, the questions that I could collect from all of my friends. And the options I could collect from my friends is something that we have discussed today. I'm really sorry, and it was not deliberate, but you might understand it is not my deliberate attempt that I couldn't deal with all the questions, but the problem was with respect to availability of questions. We know that the exam was just over. I don't know how you felt with respect to exam, whether it was moderate or easy or tough. I don't know, but anyway, I'm to an extent happy that I could at least make an effort to answer this much questions. All the questions I received, all the options I received could be dealt with today, but I'm really sorry again that I couldn't answer all the questions, mainly due to the non-availability of questions. With that, we end today's session. Again, I request you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. And please be a part of my Telegram group and Telegram channel to discuss your doubts. Thank you.